I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport. You weren't a great player if you never won a championship. Yeah. It's like a ring is a team accomplishment.
See, that's the BS. If it didn't mean much or shouldn't mean much, why did you depart Cleveland to go to Miami and join forces with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to get one? Why did you depart from there to go back to Cleveland? Because LeBron only went back to Cleveland for one reason, a championship.
You know, it's times like these where you so miss Kobe, and I would just say that I know that Kobe, if he was on the other side of that table, other than Steve Nash, he would have had some words for LeBron, because the Mamba mentality was championship or bust.
Kobe would have had a few words, but I tell you why he wouldn't have. Because LeBron would have never said that sitting across the table from Kobe.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture. Because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds. The reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing. Mm-hmm. And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino never lifted his team to a championship. So we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical. Because you shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear you won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't matter.
Paul, do you agree with LeBron about ring culture?
Well, there has to be a measuring stick. And why do we play the game? You know, is it for the fame? Is it for the fortune? Because as a kid, you played to win. And you were always measured on how much you won. Mm-hmm. And sports will always be that way. Now, I remember LeBron left Cleveland to chase rings in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't that about trying to get a ring?
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Right? Because he was trying to fulfill his legacy. Mm-hmm. You know, and same with Kevin Durant. So it just begs the question, like I said earlier, why do we play? You know, is it for fun? Is it for money? Is it for fame? Because I've always played to win, to be the best. And that's how we are measured as individuals, because when you are winning rings, it's proven that you are the best. And so it's kind of hypocritical for Bron to kind of say this, being that he went to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to L.A. in search of rings. And that's how we measure sports across the board. In order to be the greatest, Yeah, you can have all these. I could be on a bad team and have all the individual stats, but it doesn't make you great if you don't win. And that's why we measure players to that degree on how much you win and how many rings or trophies you got. It's all measured, and there is levels to this. You can't come to the Truth Lounge and just get in the VIP. You know, it's certain status that you got to have or a certain type of bankroll. Same in sports. It just is what it is. Some players are general admission. Some players are VIP. And then you got others who are VIP. And that's the upper echelon. So it just is what it is.
Nobody says Charles Barkley's not amazing. Nobody says Allen Iverson's not amazing. Nobody says Dan Marino's not amazing. But Barkley is an MJ, and Marino's not Brady, even though he was more talented. And the reason is the trophies. And LeBron knows that. LeBron has no chance to win a trophy with the current Laker roster, so now they don't matter. He spent his entire career pursuing titles. You think he went to Miami to lay on the beach? He went there for Riley and Spoelstra and a better owner and a better roster. He didn't go west. He stayed in the weak East to keep getting to finals. LeBron pursued finals and Michael 6 for 6 for years. He's talked about idolizing Michael. What's the stat? What stat do we talk about with Michael? If I said to you, how many total points did Michael score? You don't know. How many division titles did Michael win? You don't know. How do you do in the finals? 6 for 6. That's his number, right? That's his number. And so, and he's been doing this for years, playing this angle. It's projecting, it's straw man argument. And I love LeBron. I really do. I like the people around LeBron. So back when he knew he had a chance to win several more, the ring mattered. Because he was still back then, hey, can he surpass Michael and get to 6, 7, 8? Now he can't. Now rings don't matter. Rings absolutely are the difference. Dan Marino was bigger, stronger, and more talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. That's the difference. Favre was more athletically talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. Aaron's probably more gifted. Josh Allen is. Brady's got the trophies. Nobody's saying that Marino or Josh Allen aren't talented. I think Josh Allen's the most talented football player in the world. But Mahomes has the trophies. And we can contextualize it why they matter. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy fan, but if he had 2 trophies, I'd have to acknowledge he's a different player. He's just better than I think. So it does matter. And Michael and LeBron knows it matters.
It's levels to this shit. And I ain't mad at that. I understand that. Now, if I could have won a championship, I can go across the room. But the rules are the rules. We have to play by the rules. And this ain't got nothing with motherfuckers on TV who get paid to talk shit. We talking about players.
Right.
We talking about players. We understand, like, yeah, hey, I'm not at the table with Bird and Magic and those guys. Hey, yeah, am I a great player? Yes, I am. I understand that. But there are levels and there's tables to this thing.